Hello and welcome to today's Timeless Pick a Card reading, which is going to be a mystery topic where we're going to use the characters from the book series The Raven Cycle as a jumping off point to explore whatever topic wants to come through for you today. So these characters out here are from a book series. You do not have to be familiar with the book series. I will explain anything that comes up related to the characters to you. Just in case it's relevant, but we're going to use it as a jumping off point for a mystery topic. So each group will have a different topic and we'll explore it as we get into each reading. But before I get too far into the reading breakdown and group selection, as always, I want to welcome you to the channel. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you're new here, my name is Juliana and welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. And if you're not new here, thank you for tuning back in. I'm really excited that you've decided to join me again for another reading. So I like to start these off with a brief centering exercise before I explain the reading and do the group selection. So for those of you who are interested in joining me for that, stick around. If you're not, I always have the timestamps in the description or pinned comment, so do whatever you want to do. But for anyone who's joining me for the brief centering exercise, let's just get right into it. So, as always, I ask that if you are driving or doing anything that requires your full attention, you skip this and come back later. But for those of you who are ready, when you are comfortable and when you are ready to just relax and get in touch with yourself, you can feel free to close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. And just set the intention now to get in touch with your intuition, to recenter yourself, and to be ready to receive messages for your highest good and to be fully tapped into the messages that are truly meant for you today. And all you need to do throughout this meditation is simply listen to the sound of my voice and notice your breathing. And with each inhale, you can imagine yourself breathing in relaxation and peace. And with each exhale, you can imagine breathing out anything that you're ready to let go of right now, just anything that's not yours. Just let that release with each and every exhale so that you relax deeper and deeper into the surface that you are resting upon with each breath. And just enjoy this time, these few minutes here to be with yourself, to recognize how special you are, how special this moment is, and how you are exactly where you need to be at all times. And you can just relax into life. Trust yourself and trust that you always are tapped into the flow of life. So there's nothing to think about or consider right now. You just need to be, and everything that is meant for you will find you just in the right time, just in the perfect way, including the message in today's reading, whatever it may be for you. Just feel all the peace and relaxation spreading throughout your body. Feel how your breathing is becoming easier, how everything feels so much more peaceful and aligned in this moment than even before. And notice if there are any impressions that are coming to you already about today's message. or simply enjoy the relaxation in this moment. And let go of the need to know or understand everything. Just let everything be, let everything go. And know that you are exactly who you are meant to be, and you're exactly where you are meant to be right now. And if you are interested in continuing with this meditation for a little bit longer, feel free to take a moment to pause the video and come back when you feel ready to engage with the rest of the reading. And for those of you who are ready for this reading, we are going to get into it in just a moment. Okay, so thank you to everyone who joined me for the brief centering exercise. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you to anyone who did not. Welcome to the group selection and reading breakdown. I will just briefly go over what the reading will be composed of. I will briefly go over how this reading will be structured, and then we will get into the group selection, and then we will move right on to the individual readings. So I mentioned in the intro that I have decided to use these character cards based on characters from the Raven Cycle book series for the group selection today. And I want to make it clear that you do not need to be familiar with the series, but I just recently got the graphic novel adaptation and it came with these cards, and I thought they would be a really cool way to choose your group. And then also, because I'm familiar with these characters, there might be messages that come through for the specific group that you select based on the character. So anything that comes through related to the series, I will let you know. You don't have to be familiar with it. And I will also use the card that is under each of these cards as well to further clarify the topic of the reading. So we'll start by talking about the character card and the tarot card that I selected for each group in the beginning of your reading to hone in on a topic. And then we will use my Dungeons and Dragons tarot deck, because I just thought that would be fun, to get any more information about this topic that's coming up for you, any more messages for you, and we'll kind of play it by ear. So I figure either I'll ask for like general clarification if that feels right, or if there's a specific question that comes up for your group based on the topic, then I will ask that question and we'll go from there. And I will close out with a quote card from this smaller pile of cards that I've made with quotes on the back from the Raven Cycle series / adjacent stories that are related to the series, just for fun. So that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, it's just gonna be kind of a mystery message. So we'll see what is important for you to know right now. And here are the groups. Obviously we have 5 groups here. I have a character card and a stone to help you choose. So, whatever draws you in more, you can choose based on the stone, the character card, whatever your intuition tells you is right. And for group 1, we have Blue Sergeant, this character here. And we have the Blue Opalite Stone. For group 2, we have this character here, Richard Campbell Gansey III. And we have this red stone here with these little gold flecks in it, if you can see them. For group 3, we have Ronan Lynch. And we have this hematite stone. For group 4, we have Adam Parrish. And we have this Dalmatian jasper stone. And for group 5, we have Noah Cherny, I believe is how you pronounce it. And we have the smoky quartz stone. So those are your groups. Take as much time as you need to choose your group. Feel free to pause the video, go down to the timestamps, pick your group from that selection. As always, use your intuition. You can pick more than one. You can pick one and decide it's not right and pick a different one. Do this however you feel drawn to doing this. And I will see you over in your reading. Hi, group 1. If you selected Blue Sergeant and the Blue Opalite, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading with a mystery topic. So we're going to be looking at whatever comes through in the cards and trusting that it is whatever you need to hear right now. That is my intention here today, and so we're just gonna go with it. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I do have these character cards today, which are from the Raven Cycle book series, and I said in the beginning that you don't need to be familiar with that. I will let you know what messages come through that are relevant, that have their basis in the books, and explain those. So don't worry about that. But I thought they would be a really fun way to choose the groups today. So Blue Sergeant. Well, first things first. Actually, let me also flip over your tarot card as well. I pre-selected a tarot card, so this and blue are going to tell us the topic of your reading, and then we'll use that topic to then get into any additional information from the other cards. So that's what we're doing today. So your tarot card is the 9 of Swords. Now this is a really interesting 9 of Swords. As you can see, it's a bit different from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith 9 of Swords. There's a lot more going on, so we'll talk about it. So, group number 1. I am feeling a tremendous amount of energy from your group. And I feel like that's coming through in all 3 of these items here. So including the blue opalite. Starting with the blue opalite, often I feel that is a very joyful, bubbly, excited, exuberant energy. And I feel like bubbly especially is the word that's coming up. I feel like there is a bubbling up of energy of some kind within you. Blue Sergeant is also so in the Raven Cycle series, she is a psychic's daughter, but she doesn't have a psychic ability of her own, at least not that she can experience herself. But what she is actually almost like a battery, like a human battery of energy that the other psychics can draw energy from, and it helps enhance their readings. And so she does in a way have an ability, but it's just not one that she necessarily gets to experience. And yet she does find that over the course of the series, she learns to tap into it a little bit more. And it is possible for her to give energy to things or people, or also protect her energy and cut people or things off from her energy. So I feel like the concept of having a lot of energy, having a lot of power within you, is an important topic here, because with the 9 of Swords, I almost feel like this is something that's about to be overflowing, or it is overflowing right now. And I feel like this is probably your group if you are currently or often feel a feeling of pressure building inside you. Potentially you feel often easily overwhelmed, or like there's a lot of energy moving through you, and it could come out as bubbliness, but I feel like for a lot of you here, it can come out as anxiety, because the 9 of Swords in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith is often one of a lot of mental energy, chatter, anxiety, doubt, fear, and worry. And I feel like for this group, we are talking about your energy. We're talking about I feel like you are someone who has a lot of it, who has extremely powerful energy. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a group of people who are highly tapped into potentially psychic gifts, or have that potential and have an interest in developing that, because it feels like regardless of whether you're aware of it or not, you kind of already do tap into like energy, tap into, I feel like some of you could inadvertently even like use your energy for healing or for different kinds of things that you're not even fully aware of yet. And if you are, I feel like there's a new level on into which you are moving that is going to help you tap into these abilities more straightforwardly, is what I heard. So yeah, we're talking about psychic abilities here, but we're also talking about your energy, how you use it, how it moves through you. And I do feel like the potential discomfort that comes along with that. Yeah, we're talking about potential as well. Potential that is overflowing, that might feel like a lot at times. I feel like you are someone who might be overwhelmed by your abilities, by your potential, by the things that you feel in your body. Sometimes it's hard for you to maybe even make sense of them. I feel like you get a lot of input constantly, whether you're aware of it or not, that can make it hard to discern what is useful to you and what is not useful to you, what is meant for you and what is not meant for you, what is your energy and what is not your energy. So this is really interesting and kind of fun. But with that, let's ask some more questions. So for group 1, let us ask, how can group 1 learn to channel their energy in a more effective way? How can group 1 learn to channel their energy more effectively? Okay, we have the 5 of Wands. Interesting, that was on the bottom of the deck. And can we get another card? How can group 1 channel their energy more effectively? How can group 1 channel their energy? 5 of Wisdom. So there's 2 5s here. Interesting. And then I also want to ask, what is the potential result of group 5 learning to channel their energy more effectively? King of Cups. And let me get one more card. Page of Pentacles. Queen of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Oh yeah, okay. So that is really interesting. Okay. So first we asked how you can more effectively channel your energy. And then I asked, what are the potential results of that? Like why might that be useful to you, helpful to you? What will come of that? So with the 5 of Strength and 5 of Cups coming out here, to me, it feels like this will resolve a lot of conflict in your life. I almost feel like if there has been either any overt conflict between you and others or internal conflict around the energy of other people, you learning to more effectively work with your own energy, get to know it, get to understand what it's telling you, how it wants to move, will help you ultimately feel less at odds with the people around you. And so how you can do this with the 5 of Wands here is to learn what is your energy and what is someone else's. I feel like the 5 of Wands is coming through to me as like almost like a very noisy kind of energy. Like there's a lot of different people's energy crossing your field. And when that's the case, you can feel overwhelmed, you can feel overstimulated, and you can feel conflicted about what you want to do, what you don't want to do, maybe taking on other people's ideas and feelings and thoughts when you really just need to be honed in on your own. And so one thing that you can do is focus on sorting through what is yours and what is not yours. What might need to occur for at least a short period of time is you become much more diligent about sorting out what you want to take in and what you don't want to take in. So being really careful with, I don't want to say careful because that feels like almost an energy of like overprotection or resistance. It is not really about being resistant to other people's energy or to viewing other people as an enemy or viewing energy as the enemy. It's not that. And I feel like that could be part of the problem. It's almost like maybe you have been feeling like combative with other people's energy for a time because you've been feeling vulnerable to it. And so that defensiveness, that sort of like aggressiveness might come out it might actually cause more resistance than is necessary. And that causes actually more anxiety, more worry about, oh, is this person right for me? Is this person's energy affecting me? Am I watching the right things? I feel like almost you need to lighten up with that and detach from the urgency of it. Be more playful about filtering the things and people that you allow into your life at this time. Because I actually feel like there is something to limiting the contact that you have with certain things or people that cause you the most conflict, not from a space of fear or worry, but more from a space of, oh, interesting. Okay, you know what? That doesn't really feel like me right now. That doesn't really align with me right now. Or I notice when I get around these people, I feel like they get in my head really easily, and I feel like I need to just separate myself right now so I can come back to me. And then at a later time, you might re-encounter the same people and have a different experience. But first you need to withdraw and come back to yourself and recenter. And I feel like it's the same with engaging with things like social media or different shows you watch, books you read, things like that. If there is certain content that is causing you a lot of conflict and confusion, maybe even negativity, it might not just be the people or the content, but it could just be where you're at energetically right now, where I'm feeling like if you're feeling overloaded, overwhelmed, and unable to connect back with what is truly aligned with you, a break, a separation will help you return to your base state, and then you can reintegrate and reconnect with different things from a different perspective. But it's going to be hard to get to that new perspective until you do take that step back. That's what I'm feeling. Because with the 5 of wisdom here, the 5 of cups, to me that is, it's about shifting your perspective, basically. So instead of seeing the people and things around you as culprits as aggressors who are trying to attack your energy, trying to get at you, causing you negativity or problems, you're shifting your perspective to one of more empowerment, where you're feeling like it's within your power to choose how you encounter and experience the things around you. That doesn't mean that you obviously don't take a step back when certain things are getting in the way of your energy or you're just feeling overwhelmed, but it's less about protecting from the out there and more about honing in on what's in here, what's inside you, restoring your own sense of self and shifting your own perspective. And you don't have to force anything. It's something that will happen naturally the more that you intentionally go within, the more that you intentionally return to your energy, the more that you intentionally engage with things that you know feel restorative to you. And you won't have to be so on your guard the more that you practice this, because you will naturally gravitate towards that which is aligned with you. So there won't be as much like resistance to the world around you, right? Because you'll be naturally gravitating towards more of what's aligned with you. And you'll also be able to, with this perspective shift, experience more of what is more of the people and things, even some of the things that you might have needed to take a step back from. if you return to them, it will be with a perspective that like where you'll be aligning to the more positive or aspects of that thing, or a perspective that allows you to see that thing or person in a new light that is less abrasive to your energy. And where this is leading you, where this has the potential to go for you, is it's bringing you to a place of new maturity. Look at this King of Wisdom, this King of Cups here. You see how he's like holding his hand out? Like, stop. And he's fully empowered in himself, in his emotions. So energy is emotions, right? It's when we're experiencing emotions, we're experiencing movement of energy through us. So really, when I'm talking about you having a lot of powerful energy, it's you having a lot of powerful emotions as well. That's why it might come out as anxiety or not come out as anxiety, because often anxiety is the suppression and repression of that. So if you have a lot of stuff building up within you, it can feel like anxiety because it's a lot of pressure. But really what this is, like, your emotions and your energy are part of your power. And directing those in the most productive, useful ways will, once you're this King of Cups, I feel like to me, this King of Cups is like, almost like, I'm getting the magician, but like a magician who specifically uses emotional energy for their magic, for their work. And so this King of Cups is like the highest form of mastery of energy, of emotional energy. So you're going from, so Blue Sergeant actually in the Raven Cycle book series is associated with the Page of Cups tarot card because, you know, psychics are a part of the series. Her mom is a psychic and the Page of Cups is her card. So I could almost see her as representing a Page of Cups, a powerful source of energy, someone who is playful, has a lot of potential, who then has the potential to grow into this King of Cups and this Queen of Cups being on the bottom of the deck here. So it's like also bringing the masculine and feminine together. So it's like full maturity and well-rounded as well. The King of Cups being part of your potential might be here because there may be some balancing between like the more feminine aspect of the cup suit and the masculine aspect of the cup suit. I see the masculine aspect as being able to detach, being able to set boundaries very firmly. And these boundaries are not just with other people and things outside of you. The boundaries are also within yourself, saying, you know what, I decide that I'm not going to interact with my emotions in this way anymore. I'm going to interact with them in that way. So, for example, if every single time you experience anger, and this might take some, like, sometimes you're not aware of what your emotional reactions are. Part of the mastery is becoming more aware of how you handle individual emotions and also recognizing what your emotions are. The King of Cups understands his emotional energy very deeply, and that's why he's able to work with it so effectively and also detach from it when he can. So, like, for example, with anger, if you maybe have the tendency to suppress anger and not feel it, and a sign of this, if you're really detached from your anger, is that you say that you aren't a very angry person. I'm not saying that you necessarily are. You need to, like, force yourself to, like, take on an idea of what you're not. Obviously, if it resonates with you, you'll know. But, like, you might actually just be more suppressing your anger. It depends, you know, it depends on how well you know yourself. If you know that there are things that make you uncomfortable that you don't want to look at or think about, and it can be related to anger, if you say you're not an angry person because you don't want to be angry, then you're not really actually addressing your anger or dealing with it. You are suppressing it, and that can come out as anxiety. And so a King of Cups figure would be someone who can recognize the power that anger holds. So can detach from the anger, does not identify with the experience, but also allows it to exist within his experience when it comes up, and can even channel it into productive emotions, can transmute anger into action, positive, productive action, can recognize, oh, okay, if this, say there's something in the news that makes you feel really angry, say it has to do with the violating of human rights, which, you know, topical, and it makes you really angry. Well, what does that tell you about where your values lie? It tells you that you value the sanctity of human life. It tells you that you value people being treated with kindness and fairness, that you value justice. And perhaps there are things that you can do in your life to act with more justice, to act in the interest of supporting the value of human life, even in a small way that might be centered in a more local cause. You can channel that anger into that kind of action, right? And it can take the form of something very positive and productive, like going to help someone in need. And so that's one way that the King of Cups can help channel his energy. Now, if we get into a more like esoteric lens, it also may help you open up more to intuitive and psychic abilities. So if you resonate with that idea, if you want to tap more into your intuitive and psychic abilities, your emotions, your energy is a very important part of that. Mastering that will help open the door. I see with this page of charisma here, will help open the door to a whole new landscape of abilities, both psychic and also things that you can do in your physical world around you. The Page of Pentacles here also, to me, signifies that there's like a specific message here about an emotional support animal, or just an animal in general. Like if you feel called to take in a pet of some kind, that might also help you with your work. And it might help you by helping to stabilize your own energy. There could be a significant animal in your life already as well, but I feel like for a lot of you, this is the potential. Like you might bring in, manifest in a significant animal that will help you stabilize your energy, help you work with your energy. It also might help you if you do energy work with people, because that could be where some of this is leading for you, or it might be something that you already do that you're leveling up in. And so like there's a new level of mastery that's awaiting you as you work more on protecting your energy, on not even protecting, but like shifting your perspective on like what protecting your energy even means to you, and whether or not you actually need to go about it in the same way that you have been, if you have been at all. But yeah, an animal companion might be significant for you, might open some doors for you, and also could become an important part of your work in some way, shape, or form, which is a very interesting and specific message, but I like it. And I feel like I do feel like for a lot of you, there's almost a message like, in some way, shape, or form, this will help open doors for you in your career. Either there's a side hustle that you can start related to getting your energy sorted. And it, again, like this could be a very psychic group. This could be a group where you might be working in a psychic field, where you might be working with energy as your work, either now or in the future. But even if you're not, I do feel like in some way, shape, or form, this will open an unexpected door for you in your career in some way. Which makes sense because, I mean, the more mastery you have over your emotions, the more maturity that you develop as you understand yourself on a deeper level, the more capacity you have, right? So you're developing your capacity to take on more, or to take on an opportunity that in the past might have been too overwhelming for you. I feel like this Nine of Swords here, if things have been feeling overwhelming, if that pressure's been building up, it's because it's letting you know, hey, we're getting ready for a new chapter. We're getting ready for a leveling up. And so there's some stuff that's got to come out, and there's also some things that you need to be aware of, so that you can make the most of it going forward. Make the most of your energy. Make the most of, start responding to that feeling of pressure, to the rumination that comes up differently. Start seeing it almost like if you start having like rumination, you start having thoughts that are coming up, doubts and fears and things like that, see it as a sign that things need to move. It's reminding me of a short that recently came out on this channel, like a few days ago, maybe, time of recording. But it was the Nine of Swords and the Ace of Cups together. And to me, that was a message of energy that's coming up and out. It's moving and it needs to be moved. And so it might feel like a tremendous amount of energy, but that's why it's building up. That's why it's kind of like all congregating in like the crown chakra area. I'm getting like very much third eye and crown chakra, and some throat chakra as well, obviously with all the blue. And I feel like it's like congregating in your upper chakras, and it has to like move out. That's what I'm getting. So if you resonate with the concept of chakras and energy like that, that might be useful information for you to use to help get some stuff moving out of your system, right? Instead of buying into the doubts and fears that come into your head, instead of buying into the feeling in your body, go take a walk, go get out, go move, go do something else with the intention of moving that energy out. Start seeing it as energy as opposed to the truth, right? Because if it's in your head space, if it's in your mind space, it's not necessarily the truth. Your intuition isn't there to scare you. And so while a thought that is associated with your intuition could cause you anxiety if you're already feeling anxiety, once you remove the anxiety, even if it's still the same thought, you won't respond to it the same way. It won't feel as overwhelming. So the feeling of overwhelm, the feeling of anxiety is really just this pressure building up. Once you release that, you're free to come at things from a new perspective. Another last minute message with the Five of Strength as another way to address this, to work with your energy more, is to play. Find ways to play in your life. Let off some steam, right? Think of it like when, little kids need to go run around and let off some steam, or like an animal gets the zoomies. It's like, I think you need to let off some steam. And so start tending to that more diligently. When you start to feel that like pressure coming up inside you, go let off some steam. Go find a way to play it out. All right, so last but not least, I'm just going to pull a quote card from this little pile of quotes from the Raven Cycle and adjacent series. So that's what we'll use to close out this message. So for group 1, what is their Raven Cycle or related quote? Okay, it says, today, Blue Thought. Oh, and we have blue here. That's funny. Today, Blue Thought, is the day I stop listening to the future and start living it instead. From The Raven Voice by Maggie Stiefvater. Yeah, today is the day I stop listening to the future and start living it instead. So you are ready to be more present in your life, to stop buying into the energy that is building within you, stop getting stuck in it, and start letting it move through. Be more present with it and be more open to the future that's coming for you. Because I feel like this page of charisma over here, this page of pentacles, represents you stepping out into a new future. And in doing so, you're stepping into the present and you're living in the present much more fully. And mastering your energy, mastering your emotions is helping you to do that, to live in the present, to be more excited about what the future holds, because you also know that like the future is now. Like all you have is really now, and you're creating the future from now. And this is allowing you to, especially for those of you who have been caught up in trying to listen to tarot readings or like watching the news, trying to figure out some of this mental rumination and pressure could be coming from this energy building up. And then in your head, you're trying to figure out mentally, like, what do I do about this? I need to do something about this. And if you're trying to figure things out, if you're really in your head, chances are it's not going to resolve anything. What you need to resolve is the energy first within your body, and then intuitions, ideas might come to you that will help resolve anything that needs to be resolved. But at the same time, you might come to a new perspective where you realize, oh wait, there was nothing for me to fix in the first place. There's nothing for me to do here. I don't need to figure this out. And maybe even this isn't actually a real problem. Because sometimes your mind feels a feeling and thinks of a problem to assign the feeling instead of, the other way around. And that, I feel like, is what's happening, because you need to understand you have a tremendous amount of energy and it needs to move, it needs to be let out, it needs to be released, and you have to let that happen. And the feeling itself, the energy itself, is not the problem. And I feel like what you're learning is to stop treating your energy, your emotions as a problem. And doing that will allow you to stop looking for someone to tell you what the future holds. Stop trying to figure things out. Stop giving into anxiety and all that mental chatter, and start living in the present instead. Which is great and will bring you a lot of opportunities I feel like you don't even see coming. Which is really exciting. So I highly recommend, if you haven't read The Raven Cycle, check it out, because you might relate to the character of Blue Sergeant a bit, or something in the story could be significant for you. But I really love this message. I hope that you resonated with it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how it resonated with you. And if you're interested in a personal reading, I do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. And then my mom is also a tarot reader, and we also do hypnosis, and my mom does human design. So you can check those out on our website as well. You can also check out our other YouTube channel, Sunflower Philosophy, just Sunflower Philosophy, where we talk about hypnosis and our other services, and also just like we have chats, my mom and I. So you can check that out if you're interested. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 3. If you selected Richard Campbell Gansey III, or this reddish stone with gold spots in it, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading with whatever message needs to come through for you. It's a mystery topic. So as I mentioned in the intro, this character here, Richard Campbell Gansey III, is from the Raven Cycle book series, but you don't have to be familiar with that. Any messages that come up that are relevant to his character and his story, I will let you know. I will explain it. But I am using this card and this tarot card here that I pulled for you as a jumping off point for this reading. So this will give us the topic, and then I'll get some more cards to go into more of what you need to know right now. So the tarot card that we have for you is the Three of Wands. All right, so as soon as this popped out for Gansey, for your group, I was like, that makes so much sense. And I didn't even really necessarily know why. It just like, I could just tell. It's also really funny. It's like red is a very important color, clearly, because red is the background color here, at least on the border of Gansey's card. Then we have this red stone, and then we have red on the Three of Wands, so that could be a significant color. The root chakra might be significant for some people here. But what I feel this group's reading is about, Group 2. I hope it said Group 2 and not Group 3, because I was mixing it up before. Group 2, what your topic is about is some kind of new knowledge that is either you are seeking or is going to be revealed to you, whether you're seeking it or not. But I feel like this group here might resonate with feeling a lust for knowledge. Either you have a specific topic that you are seeking something about, or you're in general someone who considers yourself a seeker of spiritual wisdom, a seeker of any kind of wisdom, any kind of information, whatever it is that you are honed in on, or whatever it is that you're curious about, you might resonate with being that kind of person. Richard Campbell Gansey III is in fact that kind of person. He is a near-death experiencer who, The Raven Cycle is actually a young adult book series that is steeped in kind of like New Age spirituality. And when I was first reading it, this was before I knew anything about New Age anything, and not much about spirituality in general. And so I wasn't really aware of how much of it is in there until I went back and reread it after having kind of like become a tarot reader myself and explored some things in that realm myself. And now I look back and I see it and I'm like, oh, that's funny. So he's someone who had a near-death experience at a young age, and was brought back to life with this renewed purpose of finding the dead Welsh king Glendower, who he believes is buried in Virginia, where he lives, or along the ley line where he died and then was resurrected, basically, because he was told in his near-death experience that he was living in a way because of this Welsh king Glendower. And so it kind of like involves, like New Age historical conspiracy theories, there's energy, there's psychics, there's near-death experiences, there's magical manifestation forests, it's like all that kind of stuff. And so Gansey is very much set on this quest to find this dead Welsh king, to explore the more esoteric parts of life, to essentially understand on some level why he is still alive, or at the very least do something with his life now that he's been given this second chance. So you may resonate with elements of that, this character, whether specifically or just more in the attitude of someone who's like whose purpose and legacy is very important to them, and who is also seeking for answers, seeking for knowledge. With the Three of Wands here, that seems pretty clear to me that that is indeed what is happening. And I also feel like with the Three of Wands, you are closer to some kind of discovery than you think. There is something that will be revealed to you, or is being revealed to you right now, or very soon will come into your knowledge. But there's some kind of quest that you're on. That's what I'm feeling. And so let's see. What do we want to ask for group 2? What do they most need to know right now about their quest for knowledge? We have the Four of Intelligence, Four of Swords. What do they need to know right now about their quest for intelligence? Three of Wisdom. That makes sense. Okay. And I would like to know, where is their quest leading them, or where is if there's whatever knowledge it is that they are uncovering, whatever it is that they're seeking, where is this leading them? That's too many cards. Where is this? Okay, we'll take that. 10 of Intelligence and the Moon. And the Star on the bottom of the deck. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so the Four of Intelligence, also known as the Four of Swords. It's funny because when this came out, even though the Four of Swords is often about rest, relaxation, meditation, the first thing that came to mind was more people. There are more people that are important to your quest. There are people who can help you with the knowledge that you seek. Which makes a lot of sense with Gansey, because on Gansey's quest, he does end up collecting a group of people who help him on his quest, who fall into the sort of like puzzle pieces. Like he even says, like, once they find the last member of their little group, that he feels like things are really starting. And all of a sudden, a quest that was taking him years and years, where he would like find one clue and then it would like, he would follow that and follow that and follow that, and then finally he'd find another clue. It's like all of a sudden, like, bam, 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 things are falling into place. More and more stuff is happening all at once, because like that last person kind of clicked into place in their group and gave him what he needed to have these breakthroughs. And so I feel like with the Three of Wisdom, Three of Cups coming out to clarify with the Four of Swords, there's definitely a group of people who can help you with your knowledge. So you might already be aware of this. These might be people in your orbit or people that you're already working with, and this is further highlighting their significance, because I feel like for a lot of you, if that's the case, it's still kind of early on, or you haven't quite fallen in with this group yet. You're not quite involved with these people, but I feel like they have knowledge that can be helpful for you. And this might be a group of people. There could also be like one person here, one person there, one person there that you know, that helps things all fall into place for you. With the Four of Intelligence coming out as well, I do feel like meditation and things like meditation and I just heard psychedelics. Only take that if it resonates. I'm not making any recommendations here about what you should and should not do, but that kind of thing came to mind. Because I do feel like whatever quest you're on, it's likely for a lot of you of a spiritual nature. But if it is not, even if it's something of a more historical nature, scientific nature, related to your career in some way, related to family history in some way, regardless of the nature of it, there are other people who hold the keys to what you are looking for. And so you are being encouraged to open up to connecting with more people on your journey, to opening up to more people about your journey, about what it is that you're looking for, about what it is that you want to explore. I'm getting the specific example of joining some kind of community group related to spirituality, being willing to keep showing up, being willing to start opening up and sharing your story, sharing whatever experience you're looking for, whatever knowledge you're looking for, and seeing if there are other people who are interested in finding the same knowledge as you. I also feel like this could be very fun for you. I feel like this could also lighten the load if you're someone who tends to take your search for knowledge very seriously. It might benefit you to work with other people in a more lighthearted context, to make some friends along the way. I'm almost getting that saying of like it's like the real quest was the friends we made along the way, that kind of thing, you know? Like, I feel like that could be something that you realize through your journey, is that the people that you get to meet and the things that you get to experience on your quest, as you're seeking knowledge, will actually be the reward itself, not just whatever it is that is the end result, quote unquote, of what you're seeking. Especially because for some of you, whatever you're seeking might not be such a specific thing. It could be a feeling, it could be an experience, it could be knowledge, but like there might not be necessarily a solid end goal. So really what ends up being the end goal is really just the journey along the way, the stuff that you get to experience and the people you get to meet. And even if you do have a very solid end goal, you are being encouraged to value the journey much more, and to open up to sharing that journey, and to really be in the moment with each leg of your journey, which is really interesting because I have no idea what it is you're seeking, but I definitely feel like you are looking for something. Now, with the 10 of Intelligence and the Moon, I feel like I was thinking of when I was asking about this, I was feeling like I wanted to know where this is leading for you, where this is headed. But I feel like that's been obfuscated, basically. The Moon being confusion and mystery oftentimes. The 10 of Swords can be like rather difficult energy. But I do feel like with the 10 of Swords here, there is a sense of, I mean, we have like the moon in the background here, and then we have the moon card. I almost feel like there is some sense of lighting up the darkness, of bringing light to things that were previously obfuscated. So I do feel like that is going to be one of the results of your journey, is that you will ultimately end up finding the truth. You will end up putting to rest certain things that might have been difficult for you or for certain people in the past. Maybe for some of you, you're seeking some kind of truth or revelation that will shed light on some things that were nefarious or that happened to you or other people that needs to be brought to justice or brought to an end. It might also, for you, bring to an end some old ways of thinking and old ways of seeing the world. And so I do feel like there's a sense of bringing light to darkness, bringing peace and an ending to things that are that were difficult, that needed to end. But there's also a sense of confusion around, or a lack of clarity around where this is going, because I feel like that's part of the experience, right? Is not knowing exactly where you're going, not knowing exactly where it's leading you, and not knowing exactly what you will find, but being open to it nonetheless, being open to it anyway, and trusting that there will be some kind of fruitful return for all of this seeking. With the Star card at the bottom of the deck, that's a card of hope, of potential. And I do feel like there is a lot of potential in this journey, a lot of hope in having some kind of goal, having some kind of idea of a future, of things changing. And I feel like what you're being encouraged to do is create a balance between being future-oriented and being present-oriented, going after your goals, going after what it is that you're seeking, and also enjoying the journey along the way, and bringing those two experiences together in a healthy way. So if you find yourself getting too caught up in, but when's this going to end? Where's this going to lead? Where is this getting me? And you're not really focused enough on what's right in front of you in the moment, it's also going to be harder for you to ultimately get where you want to go and ultimately figure out what you want to figure out. It's imperative that you stay present, because not only will that make the journey more enjoyable and also might bring you a new perspective on what it is that you're even seeking, but it will also ultimately be what makes it possible for you to find the thing in the end anyway. And then when it comes to, you know what, there was something else that came through and I just lost it. But if it's important, it will come back. But yeah, no, I feel like there is an emphasis on being able to enjoy the seeking, being able to enjoy the journey, being able to enjoy uncovering details and clues. And maybe you are someone who likes a mystery. Maybe you are someone who likes a puzzle. And you're being welcomed to enjoy that, especially if you've been having trouble. If you've started to take yourself too seriously, or you've been taking this journey, this mystery seriously, if there's a way that you can like lighten up about it and have more fun with it, I feel like that is highly recommended. And there might be people around you who can bring more fun to that journey as well. So be open to that. All right. So I'm going to just shuffle up these quote cards from the Raven Cycle and other related books that are in the same world. And we'll just see what quote is meant for you, Group 2, to close out your reading. So what is Group 2's Raven Cycle quote? Yeah, this one kept popping out. It was before I asked the question, so I wasn't sure if it was quite right, but I'm going to take it. So we have this card, which to me it's like abstract roses, is how I think of it. And then the quote says, "But the problem with being weird was that everyone else was normal," from The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Yeah, okay, so this is definitely telling me that whatever, like, quest you're on, it might be something, whatever knowledge you're seeking, whatever you're looking for in life, you might feel like it's very different from what a lot of people around you are seeking and what a lot of people around you want. But that might also be because you could be holding yourself back from people and assuming other people's opinions and ideas without actually expressing to them what it is that you're looking for and being authentic and real about where you're at and what your journey is. But once you open up about that more, you'll be surprised at how many people are on board and what people are interested in joining you on your journey, what people are interested in participating in your quest. And that makes me think of Gansey selecting his friends, basically choosing who he will let in on his quest for the dead Welsh king, because this is not something that started for him in a group. It's not like he had a group of friends already and they had this encounter and they all decided to go on this quest. This was something he started, and then along the way he ended up opening up to certain people who were willing to help him with his quest, even if those people were skeptical or had different ideas about what was true, or weren't as, hell-bent on the result as he was. He could kind of suss out who would be an asset and who would be at least open to the possibility, at least open to working with him. And I feel like that is the case for you as well. You will know who is meant for your quest, and you will be able to trust in your intuition when you come across people who have valuable insight or information, or who would be a valuable asset to your quest, to your journey, to your life. And maybe for some of you don't have like a specific quest, but like your life is your quest, and that's what we're talking about here. But I feel like you do have, like, there are people who have resources for you. There are people who will fit into your group, who will fit into your life in such a way that you might be surprised. Like, on paper, it might not make sense, but it does. Like, energetically, like, just the puzzle pieces fit together, and you bring just exactly what you need to each other's lives. Because that's the other thing, is that I think there's a quote in the books about how on paper none of like Gansey and Ronan and Adam and Noah and Blue should not have been friends, but in actual practice they work together as a group. They bring the necessary things to the table that both their quests need, and also that that each other needs to learn, to grow, to thrive, and to have this committed friend group who, through ups and downs, are, they're ride or die for each other. And I feel like that is something that is important for your journey as well. You are meant to have people. So if you're someone who doesn't know where your people are or doesn't know who's going to be down to be on the ride with you, who's going to be on the same path as you, you will likely be surprised about who ends up joining your little bandwagon, who ends up joining you along the way. But stay hopeful, keep your eyes and heart open, and be open to the mystery and enjoy the mystery. Yeah, so all right, that's all I have for you, Group 2. I hope that resonated. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you felt about that reading and what resonated in the comments. And if you're interested in a personal reading, I do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. My mom's also a tarot reader. She's also a certified consulting hypnotist, as well as I am. So if you are interested in that, that's on our website. My mom does human design as well, so you can check out all those offerings in the link in the description. And then you can also check out our other YouTube channel, Sunflower Philosophy, where we talk about other things, hypnosis, other things like that. We talk about, whatever spiritual things that we want to discuss on that channel. So you can go check that out. And thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 3. If you selected Ronan Lynch or the Hematite, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading with a mystery message for you. Whatever it is that you need to hear right now, we're just going to go based on your character card that you chose and based on this tarot card here, which I'll flip over in a moment. And as I mentioned, the characters here in this reading are from the Raven Cycle, but if you haven't read that, no worries. I will explain if there's anything from their story that's relevant. I will let you know, but I'm just going to use that and this tarot card as a jumping off point for whatever topic we're talking about today, and then we'll use more tarot cards to just get into what else you need to know about this topic. So without further ado, let's flip over your tarot card. Oh, and right, I'm going to need to cover up parts of this tarot card. So we have the World card. There we go. Yeah, she's just a little naked, so we're just going to have to cover up for YouTube. And, yeah, so we have Ronan Lynch and the World. All right. So your topic today is definitely some kind of cycle coming to a close. And it's funny because obviously we're talking about a character from a book series called The Raven Cycle, and so there is a cycle that happens throughout the series that is being closed, or at least being referenced. Now, when we're talking about this with Ronan Lynch as the character, I feel like this has to do with some kind of... This could have to do with some kind of cycle of self-hatred or self-sabotage. Likely both, because those things can easily go hand in hand. There's definitely some kind of there's some way of interacting with yourself that is coming to an end. There's some kind of cycle that you're closing out when it comes to how you view yourself, how you approach yourself, how you feel about yourself, which is very interesting. Also, for some reason, I want to read the quote that's on the back of Ronan's card, even though I haven't been doing that. There are just like little quotes from the series on these cards, but I didn't read it for any of the other groups. I'm going to read it for this one. It says, "The trees speak Latin." Interesting. I don't know if trees are significant for you, if Latin is significant for you. It could be further confirmation if you're someone who's a nature lover, or perhaps you enjoy the language of Latin, if that's something that you're familiar with. Take that as confirmation. And it also is confirmation or perhaps advice for you that some of you might find help during this process of closing out this cycle that you're experiencing when it comes to your self-image, potentially some self-loathing, by going out in nature, by being more a part of nature, maybe even by connecting with trees specifically. So if there's any trees in your area, being near them, like even speaking to the trees, whether or not you believe that they can communicate back with you, that could be a way of connecting more with yourself and with your place in the world and your place in nature. Because it's possible for some of you that you have experience with being in rather dark places in your mental space. Ronan is a character who deals with a lot of internalized self-hatred, and a lot of it stems from grief around his father's death, but some of it just expands more into just him being very different from everyone he knows, having secrets that he's had to hide, and feeling like he's out of place in this world. Also having a lot of big feelings and not knowing how to express them or deal with them in a healthy way, particularly when he goes through a major personal tragedy in his life. And so you may relate to an aspect of that story. Ronan's also a character who experiences intense dreams. Dreaming is a very important part of his character, and in fact is a part of his character that is rather magical in nature. I won't go into too many details in case you haven't read the book series and you want to, but he is, his dreams are his dream world is very real for him and very intense. And in the beginning of the series, there's a lot of darkness in his dreams as well. That does relate to, obviously, how he feels about himself and his own internalized issues. So you might relate to that as well. If you're a very intense dreamer, if dreams are very significant for you, that can also be confirmation. So with all that being said, let's get more information from the Dungeons & Dragons tarot cards. So I'm going to ask, oh, no. I'm going to shuffle these off to the side so we don't remove her clothing. So for group 3, let's see. What else can you tell group 3 about this cycle that they are closing out right now? What else can you tell group 3 about this cycle that they're closing out right now? What else do they need to know about the cycle that they're closing out right now? 4 of Charisma. So that's 4 of Pentacles. And 6 of Swords, 6 of Intelligence. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, you're moving into a better place. I feel like this could also be creatively as well, because there's a lot of creativity with Ronan. He can create things from his dreams, and so there's a lot of metaphor that the author packs into his character around the act of creation, creating characters, creating stories. And so you might very literally resonate with that if you are a creative person or have any ideas for stories, for if you are an artist of any kind. This may directly relate to your creativity. And I feel like if that's the case, you've been sitting on a lot of gold. You've been sitting on a lot of ideas, on a lot of gold that's either like creative gold, things that you've made that you haven't shared yet, or ideas that you have that you haven't made yet, or even gold in terms of wisdom, in terms of knowledge, in terms of advice that you've been hoarding and holding on to. This gold could even just be your essence, yourself. You've been holding yourself back. You've been not sharing yourself as freely as you could be, as would be valuable to the world. And you're moving into a better place, into a mind space. You're moving from darkness to light. You're moving into a mind space where you're able to see your value more clearly. And because you're able to see your value and see how much you really have and how much you're really worth, you're going to be able to share that more easily, more readily. And let's find out what is on the other side of the end of this cycle. What is on the other side of this cycle for group 3? We have the 3 of Strength, which is the 3 of Wands. Funny that was the tarot card in group 2, so group 2 could be related as well. What is on the other side of the end of this cycle for group 3? Well, that's a lot of cards. That's too many, so let's shuffle it up one more time. What is on the other side of the end of this cycle for group 3? Ace of Wisdom. Is this upright or reverse? I guess we'll do reverse. All right. Page of Wands here. So there's definitely something with creativity. For some of you, maybe you are coming out of a very long-term creative block. that feels like a distinct possibility, and that creative block could have been related to some mental health struggles, to some of your perhaps self-image issues. But I also feel like what's on the other side of ending this cycle is more opportunities for you, more you starting to see the fruits of your labor come in, or actually starting to put yourself out there more in a way that brings in more opportunities for you, more relationships for you, more adventure for you in whatever way that you want to welcome that into your life. And with the Ace of Wisdom or Ace of Cups reversed, there's definitely a reconnection with your own energy. I'm getting specifically, if this resonates with you at all, like the Kundalini energy, which is meant to be like your personal life force energy. I feel like you're coming back to life and you're reconnecting with what it is that makes you feel alive. One thing that could have been a problem for you for a long time that could have exacerbated the cycle was if you felt like you had to fit into a certain institution, a certain way of living, a certain ideal sort of person that you were trying to be that just isn't you, that's just not really aligned with who you are. Ronan in the books he hates school. He hates wearing a tie. He doesn't want to be involved in any of he goes to like a rich kid's private school. He doesn't want to be involved in any of like the traditional paths, business and everything that everyone else does. He doesn't want to do any of that. He wants to live on his family farm, and he wants to create and dream and do what he and he also doesn't really know what he wants to do, but he knows he doesn't want to do any of the paths that are prescribed to him. And that is one thing that extends into, there's like a sequel series, the Dreamer trilogy, that's more about him. And so it extends into, okay, like he doesn't have to follow a traditional path, but then like what is left for him essentially? What else can he do? I feel like some of you might have felt like you've been in a limbo of, I don't want to do the traditional path, but like, what else can I do? And there could have been a lot of back and forth, push and pull, where some of the self-hatred you were experiencing might have come from this feeling of, I know who I'm supposed to be, but I can't be that person. And feeling bad about yourself because you know you can't be that person because you don't want to be that person. That's not who you really are. But you are starting to understand your value. You're starting to see the value of who you are just as you are. The way that you being different and you wanting a different path is important and special and completely valid. And you're moving from a space of despair about this to a space of action, of enlightenment, of understanding that can propel you forward into a better place. You're moving into a better mindset about it. And yeah, this is opening up your horizons tremendously. And you're feeling much more at peace with yourself, much more connected to your own power without all the noise, without taking in all the noise around you of people who would tell you to be different or do different things. Like, you're just not paying attention to that anymore. And it's giving you and being able to disconnect from all of that and connect back to yourself. I mean, for some of you, very literally, like Kundalini yoga might be a fun practice that will help you connect more with yourself. That could resonate as something that you want to check out. But it's just also just getting connected with your creativity, your individual feeling of like, this is what makes, forget about all the ideas outside of me of what a person should be. This is what makes me feel like me. This is what makes me come alive. This is what makes me wake up in the morning and go, yay, I get to live my life right now. And you're experimenting with that. You're trying that out. You're moving into a future where that can be your reality every day, as opposed to something that you think isn't possible for you. And with the Page of Strength here, the Page of Wands, this is someone who, like, I feel like this Page of Wands is really enjoying, making these different meals, experimenting with their food, like just being engaged in a hands-on creative activity. So that could be very much one of the things that you're getting more in touch with is, whatever creativity that you might have once stifled. But it could also be a way of tapping back into and reconnecting with yourself through a creative act. So through just creating art for the sake of it, through writing and journaling, through baking or cooking, through dance, through anything really that is just something that you do for the sake of creation. And you might discover things about yourself, you might learn new things throughout the process, but just do something, create something, and see where it goes. And I'm also being called to recommend art therapy. Art therapy is a really great thing. I mean, you can just, start experimenting with art and just creating and making up prompts for yourself on your own if you want. But if you would benefit from working with a mental health professional and art therapy is something that's available to you, I would highly recommend looking into that, because that can do a world of good for you, especially if you're tapping back into yourself and unlearning some old negative ways of seeing who you are, seeing yourself, and it will help you see yourself more clearly. The more you're allowed to experiment creatively and be freer with what you create in this world and who you let yourself be. So, with all that being said, group 3, I'm going to close out with a quote from this pile of quote cards that are all from the Raven Cycle or adjacent series. So, what is group 3's quote? So we have this image here. And I feel like this is just some of the reckless creative abandon that you are learning to harness in yourself. And this says, "It's not going to be what you imagined, but it'll be just as good." And this is from Opal. And Opal is the short story that is associated with the Raven Cycle. And it does have Ronan in it, actually. Yeah, it's not going to be what you imagined, but it'll be just as good. And I feel like that is, especially if you're coming out of some kind of dark night of the soul or difficult mental health period, or a period of self-censure, self-criticism, self-hatred, perfectionism, and indeed writer's block or creative block. If you relate to any or all of those things, this is a message to you that moving forward, the healthier mindset is not to force yourself to be anything or force your creativity to be anything, but rather to create, to do it, to go for it. And it's not going to be what you imagined. It's not going to be exactly what you thought in your head. You are not going to be what you imagined. You are not going to be exactly what you thought in your head, but you're going to be just as good. But you have to open up to the possibilities and allow things to unfold organically. And remember that all of life is like art. But also, if you are an artist or have created at all, you know that the artistic process is one of an unfolding. So you might go in with a certain idea, but as you go through the process of painting or writing, things will pop up, things will happen. Things will, you might have heard people who create stories say, that they didn't know where it was going at first, or, oh, I thought it was going in this direction, and then all of a sudden this character decided to do this, and then it went in that direction. And this was something that I had a conversation with my partner recently about this, where sometimes, people will be in the middle of writing a character or playing a D&D character, they'll say, oh, I didn't know that they were going to do that until they did it. But it's their character, so you're like, how did they not know? But that's because the inspiration strikes in the moment. It's part of being in the flow. It's the idea of channeling, right? You're channeling information that's not necessarily from you, but you're letting it flow through. And so you don't have to know it beforehand. Sometimes it just comes out, and that's the process of creation. And so you are allowing yourself, that's like when you're tapping into your life force energy, it might be your energy, but you don't always know where it's going to come from. It's not a mental process. It's an energetic one. It's letting that flow through you. And so when you release perfectionism, when you release this image that you have of how things have to be, how you have to be, then you have more space and freedom to create, more space and freedom to allow what comes up, to then create the picture. And then you can step back after the fact and be like, whoa, that wasn't even what I was thinking, but this is also amazing. Maybe it's even better than what you imagined. And that is often the case. And I feel like that's where you are, that's the headspace you're moving into. That is the life that you are moving into. And that's really exciting. So I'm so happy for you. And I hope that you feel a lot freer on the other side of this. Because I definitely feel like this is a cycle that if you haven't already closed it out, it's in the process of closing. And so it might just take some practice and some diligent effort in order to maintain and take on this new perspective, this less perfectionistic and more open-minded and allowing perspective on yourself and your life and the things that you make. but it's going to be so worth it. And you've got so much awesome stuff to share. Even if it's just your energy and just more of yourself and your authentic self, you've got so much gold in there. So it's well worth it, not only for you, but for the world. So excited about that. Great. Can't wait to see what you do with your lives. Can't wait to see what you create. But yeah, that's all I've got for group 3. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this resonated, and please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this reading and how this resonated for you if you feel like sharing. And if you're interested in a personal reading, we offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I work with my mom, so she also is a tarot reader, and we're both certified consulting hypnotists. She does human design readings. And then we also have another YouTube channel, Sunflower Philosophy, where we talk about hypnosis and spiritual things and other stuff like that. So you can check out that channel as well. All the links are in the description. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life. And I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi, group 4. If you selected Adam Parrish and this Dalmatian Jasper, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading with a mystery message for you. So as I mentioned, we are going to use this character card and this tarot card here that I pre-selected to figure out what the topic of your reading is, and then we'll be getting more into any additional messages that want to come out with the Dungeons and Dragons tarot deck I have. So as I said, this character here, Adam Parrish, is from the Raven Cycle series. You don't have to be familiar with it. I will let you know, I'll explain anything about his character that is relevant to this particular reading, but I'm just going to use it as a jumping off point because I thought that would be fun. So without further ado, let's flip over your tarot card and then let's talk about what topic is coming up for you guys. So your tarot card is Temperance. And I really do love this Temperance card with this tiger on it. But I would like to say, first off, that I feel like for you guys, there's some kind of balance that you are needing to find between following your principles and also being flexible and shifting your perspective around in order to see where your principles might sometimes get in your own way. And I say that because that is partially at least something that Adam struggles with throughout this the Raven Cycle series. He's a character who autonomy is a very important thing for him. He comes from a poor background. He has dreams of making a lot of money in the world, becoming independent, because he's not supported or really loved at all by his parents. His household is very abusive, and he really wants to get out of that and be his own man. And he is he strives to be very independent and to do things on his own. And he comes up against difficulty when he has friends who have the means to help him, but he won't accept their help. And there are cases in which, he's just sticking to his principles. He wants to prove something to himself. He wants to be his own person, and it makes total sense. And then there's also the side of things where he might let certain things go too far or put himself in unnecessary danger because he wants so badly to stick to those principles and to claim his autonomy. And he has trouble seeing his friends' offers of help as like an offer of friendship and help, as opposed to just another way that someone else can have control over him, right? Like his wealthy friends having the money that they have could, potentially buy him by offering him money, offering him help, offering him a place to stay. And he doesn't want to be under anyone else's control. And so it's, on the one hand, a perfectly understandable and valid thing, and in a way very important for him to make his own way in the world and to stick to what he wants to do. But on the other hand, there's a way in which he could loosen up on his grip on his autonomy and see how he can accept someone's help out of friendship from a perspective of, this is an offer from a friend, not a way to control me. And this is something that's offered out of love, and I can accept this with and maintain my own autonomy. Like, he could find a balance there, and that's something that that he sort of wrestles with throughout the series to an extent. And so, while you might not relate to his exact struggle or his exact situation, it seems like there is some kind of balance that you are looking to strike right now between some kind of principle or value of yours and a more flexible perspective, a way in which you can bend and flow, and potentially accept certain kinds of help from the universe, from other people that maybe you're not seeing fully clearly right now, and there may be a way in which you are making things harder on yourself than they need to be. So, with that being said, I feel like we need to get a little bit more information here. So, what is it that group 4 is... I'm going to get... Because the Temperance card is usually like 2 cups being poured into one another, so I'm going to get 2 cards, one to represent like one side of an issue and one to represent the other side. So what is group 4's principle that they are having trouble sacrificing? What is it that group 4 values? Can I have a card to represent? Okay. 6 of charisma, and actually 2 cards came out, and the Fool. Okay, so this actually does feel like, this feels like fairness and freedom and ability to like, yeah, okay, fairness and freedom. So very similar to actually Adam. So you might relate to Adam in some way, or even if your situation is different, there's still an element of your situation that has to do with the same principles. Like, so the 6 of Pentacles is very much about like an equal give and take. And it also can be about like a rich man giving to a poor man, right? Like someone who might be in a position of more power in one way giving to another person, or someone who's in a position of less power receiving from someone who has more power in that way. And then the Fool, to me, the Fool is ultimate freedom. But it's also potentially like a fool walking into like, okay. Yeah, so I feel like there's a situation in which you're perceiving the potential for some kind of, it could be monetary help as foolish, or potentially you walking into some kind of like trick or like a scheme that could seek to control you and seek to, like you would have to give up your power in some way to someone else. And yeah, it's feeling very much like Adam's situation, where he, even though the people who are offering him help do have the best of intentions, he has trouble seeing it as anything other than a power play, because he's felt so powerless for so long, and he has a hard time, like he can't meet his friend on the same level because he doesn't know how at that time. And his friend, for his part, might have the best of intentions, but he doesn't really understand Adam's perspective, doesn't really understand how to go about offering him the help that he needs in a way that would preserve his pride. And, you know, the question is, what's really more important? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it's really just a matter of 2 characters who are coming at something from a very different perspective. So that being said, what, in Group 4's highest good, what is the truth of this situation? 2 of Swords. Okay, so this is highlighting a choice. The 2 of Swords. Basically, the universe is saying, maybe for some of you, you feel like you don't have much of a choice in a situation. This is the universe saying you do have a choice, and the choice is yours, and that is your autonomy. So, for example, Adam can make the choice to say, I am going to accept my friend's offer of housing. I am going to accept my friend's offer of money. This is my choice. This is what I'm choosing to do. And he can maintain his autonomy. It's really just a matter of pride. It's really just a matter of perspective. And if his perspective shifts to a way where he can see that him making this choice is empowering, that he doesn't have to do everything alone, that him actually having these friends and having people in his life who genuinely want to help him is a power, you know, it's a privilege that he can claim, that he can accept, that doesn't make him weak, but rather makes him strong. The fact that he has people who are so ready and willing to support him, if he can see that as a source, as a source of his power, and his autonomy, he can say, this is the choice that I'm going to make, and he can make that choice and not sacrifice anything if he doesn't want to. But it's not an easy perspective shift to make. But I feel like that's what's happening in your case. You're being asked to see yourself in a more empowered light. That even if there are people who, quote unquote, have more than you, your choice to accept certain kinds of help, your choice to go in one direction or another is it's your seat of power. And so you can make the choice to say, to go for something, to say, oh, I want, yes, I will accept this monetary assistance. Yes, I will apply for this grant, say. Yes, I will accept, this help from, like, say, this, like, government program or something like that. It's like, you aren't weak for needing help. You're not less powerful for accepting someone's offer. You are making a choice, and that is powerful. Like, you have that power to make the choice, to accept what is offered to you. It doesn't mean that you have to accept what's offered to you. If you don't think it's a good offer, then trust that something else will come along that's more aligned to you. If you don't trust the person who's making you an offer, then wait until you get an offer from someone that you do trust, or find a new way to go about doing whatever it is that you want to do. But if you ultimately do trust the person who's making you an offer, if you ultimately do trust the situation that you are considering, and it's really just a matter of pride and a matter of feeling like you did this on your own, quote unquote, know that every choice that you make, you are doing this on your own. You making the choice to accept someone else's help is still you making the choice. It's still you doing the thing, right? Just because it was offered to you doesn't mean you have to accept it, but you get to decide if that's right for you. And that's part of life. That's part of the game of life. That's still you being in your power. It's just you choosing how to use it and choosing what it means, because it's not just like Adam could see accepting his friend's help, and he does see accepting his friend's help as him giving up his power to his friend and just being owned by another person. And I'm not here to argue whether or not that's the reality of the situation or how he should think. It's not about that. It's more just about facing the fact that that's how he does see it. But there's also the choice in there, where he could also make the choice to see it in a different way if he wants to. And that is the choice being offered to you. And it's hard for me to, like, I'm not even telling you what's wrong or right or what to do. This is more about seeing yourself as more empowered and as a capable decision maker. So I want to get another card of advice. What advice do you have for group 4 when it comes to making the decision that is most aligned with their highest good? 8 of Wisdom, 8 of Cups. Okay. So this to me feels like not letting emotion get in the way, practicing detachment, emotional detachment. So recognizing when say for example, someone makes an offer to you, and also the world is on the bottom of the deck. So I feel like there's a very significant cycle closing out for you that could be centered around pride and around decision making. Maybe you're someone who does have trouble with decision making, or you're someone who has struggled with your pride getting in your way in the past. This is calling on you to really notice how your emotions interfere with your decision making and shifting your relationship with them. So it's encouraging you. It's not saying you have to make one decision or another. And in this case, I don't know if any of you actually have a situation in which you are needing to make this decision right now. I feel like some of you definitely do. For others of you, this might just be a pattern that has sprung up in your life. And I feel like it's, in the most general sense, it's about accepting help in some way, shape, or form, and also maintaining your freedom. And underlying that, I do feel like there is this sense of power struggle. Like, you feel like accepting help from someone else is like a power struggle. And this isn't saying yes, you should accept this person's help, or you should say yes to this, or you should do this, or not. This is actually just asking you to evaluate your relationship with help and with assistance, and reevaluate your relationship with your own sense of pride, and notice where it comes from, and start to detach yourself from the knee-jerk reactions that you might have, the inferiority complex that you might have around these things, because that's a word that comes to mind when I think about Adam Parrish. And make no mistake, he's like my favorite character in the series. I adore him. This is not an indictment of his character. One of the reasons I adore him is because I feel like he's a well-written character with a very interesting character arc and a way of working through his own issues, a self-awareness that he uses to process his emotions. And he's coming from a very difficult situation. So he's a character that we get to see grow over the course of the series, and work to find that balance between maintaining his autonomy and his principles, and also bending a little bit, being flexible about it, and starting to see things in a new light, from a new perspective, starting to see his situation as one that is more empowering, and starting to see his friends' offers of help from a gentler, more forgiving light. And I feel like that is ultimately what you are learning to do. And in doing that, you are learning to see where your sense of pride may be stopping you, where a sense of inferiority may be holding you back from accepting money, love, affection, help, mental health services in some cases, a promotion, a raise, anything, a gift, and you're starting to reevaluate your relationship with that, starting to consider why that is so hard for you, and starting to understand that you have the ability to detach from your original emotional response, detach from the source of this resistance, and start to see things in a new way that will help you make decisions that are more aligned with you, and come from a place that is not unintentionally self-sabotaging, and is not making things harder for you than they need to be in the long run. And that means that you still get to have freedom of choice. You get to say, you know what, I'm not going to accept this person's help when you want to, but then you're also more able to say, I will accept this. I deserve this. I'm worth this. And the fact that this opportunity has come into my life is because I've brought it to me, because I'm the one in the seat of power in my life. And you can see that as well as, like, you know, from a more spiritual sense, you've manifested the opportunities that have come to you. So it's not just someone trying to give you a handout, quote unquote. That's conditioning. That's being brought up in a world where you've long had to believe that you have to work really hard for everything, and that if you don't suffer for it, then you're not worthy of it. And, like, that's bullshit. And you're unlearning that. And you're starting to see and understand your inherent worth and value. And you're starting to see where, like, you know, the things that come into your life are there for a reason. You attracted it. You brought it in. And even if you don't necessarily believe fully in spiritual, like, principles and manifestation, like, think of it from the perspective of, like, Adam, you know, he has this friend. Friendship is something that he allowed to be in his life. He opened up to, he cultivated in his life. He has these friends who want to care for him, who want to be there for him. I mean, doesn't that speak something about his value and worth as a person? Even if, you know, I don't think that you need to have friends to be valuable or worthy. If you need a reason, if you need to logic it out, if you need to come up with some reason why you're worthy of this help and assistance and love, well, maybe it's because you've been a good friend to this person. Maybe it's because you're in this contract of friendship, and this is part of it. And start to see it from that more positive light. And from there, you can start to accept what's really meant for you. And with the world card being on the bottom here, I do feel like this is like a sense of feeling more connected with the world at large, feeling more connected with the people, instead of seeing people as opponents or people who are offering assistance, say, as, like, belittling or condescending. You're starting to see everyone on a more equal playing field, including yourself. And because you're seeing everyone on an equal playing field who are people who are all bringing different things to the table, and sometimes that's money and resources, and sometimes that's personality and wisdom and laughter and love and all these different things, bringing this all to the table, and that it's all equally valuable and important, you're starting to feel your own sense of importance in that puzzle, and you're starting to see people as co-conspirators in your life as opposed to opponents. And that is beautiful. And so, to wrap things up, I'm just going to pull a quote card from this small deck of quote cards that are all from the Raven Cycle or adjacent Raven Cycle related books, and see what comes out for you to close out your reading. So for group 4, what is group 4's quote, please? You got 2. I'll take both. This one came out in the previous group, and then this one it hasn't come out yet in any other group. So we'll read this one first. This one says, "It's not going to be what you imagined, but it'll be just as good." From Opal by Maggie Stiefvater. And what's funny is that this is both said by this character, and then also it's said to this character at different points in the story. Actually, the other character is Ronan, and so it's funny that it also came out in Ronan's group, so maybe you were also drawn to that, or maybe someone important to you would be drawn to that group. But it's funny that this came out also for Adam. But yeah, it's the idea that, like, like some of you, like, a certain kinds of assistance or help might not be part of, like, Adam has this idea of, like, you know, he's gonna be that he simultaneously resents the idea of, like, you know, the cultural and the imbalance of, like, wealth in you know, the United States. He lives in the United States. He simultaneously is cynical about the culture, about, like, wealth and everything, and also wants it, associates it with freedom, associates it with value, and he simultaneously, like, resents his situation and also wants to be that person who, like, pulls himself up by his bootstraps and does it right, quote unquote. But he starts to loosen up on that and learn to see things in a different way. And there's this idea of, it's not going to be what you imagine, but it'll be just as good. He has his vision, his plan of the story of his life and what it's going to look like. But at the end of the day, you have to let some of that go and just let yourself live and let the universe cook. Let life cook and work around you, and be open to opportunities coming to you in a way that you might have once not accepted because of things like pride. And so you are starting to learn that things might not go exactly how you imagine them, that you might not live the story exactly as you imagine it in your head, but the story that you do live, it's going to be just as good, if not better, than what you came up with in your head. Because what you came up with in your head is limited by certain beliefs that are just not serving you anymore, not serving the story that you want to live, and not serving the life that you want to lead. And so you're learning to unlearn those things, and it's going to bring more of that freedom and that sense of autonomy that you want. Because I definitely feel like everyone here does want that in some way, even if, you know, you don't relate exactly to the story of Adam. And we also have this quote, which says, "Sometimes bad ideas were so bad they looped right back around until they became good ideas." Also from Opal. So you got Opal, 2 quotes from the Opal short story. So if you haven't read that, you might want to, but it is one that you probably want to read having already read the Raven Cycle as well. So if you've already read it and you haven't read Opal, the short story, definitely find that. It's got to be somewhere online, but I would be very surprised if you didn't. But yeah, sometimes bad ideas were so bad they looped right back around until they became good ideas. In the context, I don't know if Opal's bad ideas that loop back around to become good ideas are necessarily good ideas, but I do feel like this speaks to not only a loosening up of what is right and wrong, and like a loosening up of your grip on, okay, this is a bad idea, this is a good idea, I will accept this, I won't accept that. Like, I feel like you're loosening your grip on certain things and opening up to things that you once were shut down to, and being like, actually, you know what, I'll try that. Actually, you know what, maybe I can accept that. Actually, you know what, maybe I can be open to that. I feel like that's really what it's about, is opening up to the things that you once just, like, shut down immediately, and being like, wait a second, maybe it's not what I thought. Wait a second, maybe I actually align with this. And being more in touch with your intuition because of that, because you're not letting any mental constructs get in your way of your gut feeling that's telling you, yes, this is meant for you, or no, this is not meant for you. and just having more fun and experimenting more with how life can work with you and work for you through other people and through things that come across your path. Opening up to the different ways in which your manifestations can come true, the different ways in which the goals that you have, the things that you're working towards can come to you, and not getting so caught up in pride and things like that block certain avenues from making their way into your life. So with all that being said, I hope that resonated. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for joining me, Group 4. And if you're interested, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you. If you want a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. I work with my mom, and so we are both tarot readers and certified consulting hypnotists, and she does human design reading. So if you're interested in that, check it out on our website. You can also check out our other YouTube channel, Sunflower Philosophy, just Sunflower Philosophy, which includes chats about hypnosis and other spiritual stuff and whatnot, so you can look into that if you want. And thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 5. If you selected Noah Cherny and this Smoky Quartz crystal, then you are in the right place, and this is your reading all about whatever message wants to come through for you. So as I mentioned in the intro, I'm using this character card here and this tarot card to get a topic, and then we'll just get some more cards to expound on that topic. And you do not need to be familiar with this character here from the Raven Cycle. It's a book series. I will explain anything relevant from his story if it comes up, but I'm just going to use it as a jumping off point to get into your topics. So also, if it's kind of dark in here, like, it just keeps getting darker. Like, it wasn't that light to begin with, but, like, I feel like it's kind of like thunderstormy weather. I like the lighting setup here, but I hope that you can see. It's kind of creepy vibes, but it kind of works for Noah. We'll just say that. But without further ado, let's flip over your tarot card and just get into it. So, what is Group 5? Wait, did I say Group 5? I hope I said Group 5 and not 4, because I don't usually have 5 groups. It's Group 5. So let's look at Group 5's tarot card. Oh, great. It's a really dark one. Hopefully you can see that. It's the Knight of Wands. And if you could see, there's like a kind of like wolfy, panthery man kind of thing with a lightning bolt on his palm. So that might be hard to see, but it's kind of also a creepy little card. So, like, this might be a group where y'all are kind of, like, you might be a little... Oh, there's thunder, too. Okay. So you guys might like a little thunderstorm. You guys might be a little goth. You might like some things that are a little macabre, a little dark. You could also be into, like, cryptids and ghosts and spirits and things like that. Maybe there are some mediums here because Noah, spoiler alert, is a ghost. Things like death might be fascinating to you. So take that all if it resonates. I do feel like there is something mysterious about your nature. And I also feel like for a lot of this group, you could be going through a bit of a transformation right now, because a lot of times this Knight of Wands gives me like transformation energy, not only with the lightning bolt there, like almost like some kind of like, because it's like creative energy, like lightning strike, you know, something strikes you and then all of a sudden you have this new idea. I do feel like for a lot of you, this transformation has to do with some kind of new idea you've had recently, actually. So jumping off of that, let's get some more context for what is this creative transformation about that Group 5 is going through. 7 of Wisdom. Can we clarify that, please? 3 of Wisdom. So 7 of Cups and 3 of Cups. Okay. I feel like with this 7 of Cups here, do you see how there's this like sort of anglerfish dangling this lure in front of this dwarf guy? Okay, so some of you might be going through some kind of realization, transformation around, I was feeling like it could be a creative one, but it actually might be around your relationships, your friendships. Some of you might be realizing that you're realizing that your friendships weren't what you thought they were. You might be going through a transition in terms of, oh, wait, that would make sense with Noah, because Noah is betrayed by a friend, and in a very dark way, but I don't think it's going to be that extreme for a lot of you. Maybe for some of you there is a big betrayal that happened. And by the way, if this didn't happen for you, don't panic. You would know. This is something I feel like that's either already happened, or like you're aware. You're like, yeah, no, like I don't trust these people, right? So if that's the case, you would resonate and you would already know. If not, then that's not your message. But I do feel like for some of you, you're realizing how maybe you were taken in by certain things in friendships that either aren't good for you, like there's certain people who switched up on you, or you're just realizing that what once resonated with you in friendships, what you once looked for in friendships, is no longer aligned with you. That's kind of what I'm getting. And so your transformation that you're going through is around how you see yourself and how you see others and relate to them. Because I almost feel like you might have been someone who was once drawn in to connections with other people, like by some more surface level attributes, right? Like, so, you were drawn in by someone's looks or someone's, what they could give you, or maybe you were drawn in by someone who was very like flattering to you, but at the same time, maybe then they switched up on you later, right? Like it wasn't super authentic. It wasn't really, it didn't go below the surface. Maybe it was also like, oh, these people and I share interests, but then when it comes to getting to know them on a deeper level, you find that you don't really vibe with them on a level of values or just energy, or just maybe they don't value you as much as you wanted them to. But again, it could also simply be something as benign as realizing, oh, these just aren't my people, or like this isn't going in the direction I wanted it to go in. It doesn't have to be that sinister. I do feel like for some people, it could be like, oh yeah, these really aren't my people. I don't trust them. They really don't align with my values. But for others, it could simply just be like, there's nothing wrong with them, but I'm realizing I'm becoming a different person and moving on from their friendship. That's what I'm feeling. So I want to now get into advice. What advice do you have for group 5 in terms of navigating this transformation and finding the people who are meant for them? So what advice do you have for group 5 in navigating this change? Temperance. And how can group 5 find the people who are meant for them? Knight of Strength, Knight of Wands. Oh, okay. So Temperance, and 4 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So with 4 of Swords being here and Temperance being here, there's a sense of balance, of calming your mind, of maintaining your center of power and your faith and trust in yourself, even if there's some uncomfortable stuff going on around you. With the Knight of Wands here, I do feel like it's like part of the reason why you are changing your mind about certain relationships is because you are changing yourself. So some of it is you just seeing people in a different way. And some of it is you maybe tapping into seeing people in a way where you're like, oh, okay, like I didn't really see this side of them before, or I kind of ignored that before, but now it's starting to become a problem, that kind of thing. But it's because you are changing. It's because you are growing. And so through this, if you are someone who has a meditation practice, keep doing that. If you're not, something like that, something to clear your mind, even if it's not meditation, could be helpful. Like going for walks, journaling, but anything that clears your mind, really. But I do feel like there's also this sense of like detachment. So being able to step back from it all and to be more neutral about these people that you're leaving behind, and to not attach too much personal emotion to it if that's possible for you. Obviously, you want to feel your feelings. Obviously, you don't want to deny what you're feeling or suppress it. But there's also a wisdom here in being balanced and fair about saying, you know what, if these people aren't for me, they're just not for me. I can take at face value this idea that, you know what, I'm growing and changing. And that means that sometimes I'm going to naturally gravitate out of someone's life and leave someone behind, or vice versa. And so it doesn't have to be, there might be certain semantics of how someone falls out of your life or leaves your life that feel uncomfortable and that feel personal. But at the end of the day, it's just energetics, and you don't have to take it so personally. And you can allow the shift to happen from a place of more neutrality. And with the Knight of Wands here, in terms of finding your people, it's about just allowing yourself to just fully be yourself. To also, like, the Knight of Wands is a go-getter, right? He goes for it. He says the thing he wants to say. He's playful. He's creative. He puts himself out there. He might be even extroverted. You're being encouraged to go for it, to put yourself out there, to not hesitate, to speak your mind, to put yourself in situations where you can meet new people, to go for things that you wouldn't have gone for in the past, right? So to act more on some of your impulses, and in a way that, you know, in a wise way, like temperance is here. So be balanced about it, be measured about it, be wise about it, but also realize that if you are someone who in the past has been more introverted and held yourself back, if you're starting to feel ready to step out there and be more active in your relationships, it's time to do that. There's also a message here for those of you who aren't quite resonating with, like, leaving behind friendships, or people maybe betraying you or not being who they said they were. There's also a message of potentially you realizing that you've been focused on things that aren't as important to you as some of the people in your life. So maybe you feel like you were lured away from connecting with people in your life by other things that didn't work out, or maybe you were in a difficult headspace for a time, and that kind of kept you isolated or kept you away from a lot of the friendships in your life. You are being encouraged to not hesitate to get back out there and start reaching out to people and reconnecting. You can be honest about, you know, not being in the right headspace if you need to mend some fences, if you need to clear the air, but also you might be surprised at how happy and ready people are to have you back in their life, or how happy and ready new people are to have you in their life. If you are just being who you are, if you are being the one, also being the initiator, you being the initiator to your relationships. So there is this idea as well, is that some of the things that could have kept you separated from people who really resonate with you is some false beliefs about yourself, about your own value, about what's possible for you, about what other people think of you, that are being cleared for you. You're starting to step more into your confidence, and in stepping more into your confidence, you're naturally removing any of those doubts and fears that once held you back from being more active in your relationships, and you're taking a more active role in there, whether that means, you know, like going for new friendships and opening up to new people and just putting yourself out there to new people, or reconnecting with people in your life who maybe you've had a more passive role with in the past, or you haven't really known where you stood with them. It's like you're not waiting for them to reach out. You're not waiting for them to show you that you're welcome. You are assuming that you are, and you are just being who you are, and you are enthusiastically being the one to reach out, being the one to initiate, being the one to say, hey, I want to hang out with you. And realizing how in the past you might have mistakenly thought that you weren't welcome to do so. Or maybe you had relationships where people made you feel not welcome, but then you realized, oh, they're just not my people. I just need to go find people who want me around, and those are my people. Those are the people who are worth actually putting the effort in for. And I feel like that is what you're doing, and you're coming into a place of more confidence. You're finding your people, you're finding your place, and you're finding more peace within yourself. I feel like that's the biggest thing, is that part of this transformation is being more at peace with who you are. And so anyone who does not allow you to be at peace with yourself just simply isn't welcome. But also you're realizing where you have at times been that person where you haven't been able to let yourself be. You haven't been able to be confident in yourself. You've put yourself down, and maybe you've also even put words in other people's mouths about, you know, who they think you are, that they're not even thinking that. You're the one who's thinking that. And then you're assuming that they are, and you're putting those words in their mouths. And then you're inadvertently getting in the way of actually connecting with people on a deeper level, because you're just assuming what they think about you instead of being open to the reality of what they think about you. And I feel like you're learning how to grow through that and to become more of this person who you just go for it. You're not worried about your place in the friend group. You're not in your head about whether you're welcome or not. You're welcome in your own life. And so you're naturally aligned with people who welcome you into their life, and people who don't just simply are not going to, like, you're just not going to gravitate towards that anymore. It's just not going to happen. So you can trust that. And I feel like that's the place that you're entering into with this transformation that you're going through, which I do feel like has to do with confidence, it has to do with authenticity, it has to do with accepting yourself as you are. And accepting yourself as you are also invites other people to do the same naturally. So with that in mind, let's get a quote for you from this little stack of quotes from the Raven Cycle and adjacent Raven Cycle related books. And they already fell out on the floor, and you have two, so we'll take them. Okay, we have this one and this one. So I'll read this one first. It's got this checkerboard theme, and it says, "Life's a game, but only some bother to play." This is from Call Down the Hawk, which is actually the Dreamer trilogy. So that's kind of like a sequel trilogy to the Raven Cycle. But yeah, life's a game, but only some bother to play. Yeah, this is about you taking a more active role in your life, taking a more active role in your relationships, playing the game of life, and also being more open, maybe very literally in some cases, like playing with other people, like initiating activities with people, initiating games with people. I feel like that's what you're learning to do. You're not being passive anymore, or you're learning to not be passive anymore in your life. And this card as well, which says, "I'm a beautiful thing shaped for fighting," from the Dream Thieves. And that is in the Raven Cycle. That's the second book. I am a beautiful thing shaped for fighting. So you're really, you're becoming a more active player in your life. You're taking a more active role in your life, and you're not being distracted by doubts and fears, by the old demons that would lure you in and make you believe that you're not worthy of being an active player in your life, and especially in your relationships. And it's helping you have more fun and relax more into your relationships, relax more into trusting your place in your life and in other people's lives, and aligning with people who want you in their life, not chasing down anyone who's not giving you the time of day, and not associating with people who don't value who you are and what you do, because you know your value inherently, and so therefore you just don't gravitate towards that. And you also stop assuming that other people don't value you in the ways that you used to not value yourself. And you start opening up to the idea that, maybe they do actually like me. Maybe they do actually value me. And maybe I was the one being really hard on myself. And that's letting you just take action more. Just be more active. Be less passive in your relationships. Actually say what you want, and say and initiate things, and ask for things, and take up space, because you can accept rejection, because you'll never reject yourself, right? And that's the main thing. I feel like you're learning to not reject yourself. You're learning to accept yourself and let people be who they're going to be, as much as you let yourself be who you're going to be, which is beautiful. And congrats on all the new ways. I feel like for some of you, this could be becoming, going from more introverted to more extroverted, and being a sort of personality shift that's maybe a bigger, like more dramatic personality shift. For others of you, it's going to show itself in little ways in your life. It might show itself more in how you first relate to yourself that will ripple out through your actions and words, but in a subtler way. And it will depend on who you are, how big of a difference this is in your like words and actions and how you comport yourself through life. But I feel like you will feel the difference on the inside at the very least, in a big way. And that's exciting. And you're just going to feel more free to be you and to take a more active role in your life, which is great. So that's all I have for you, Group 5. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope this resonated. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you if you want to share it. And we also offer personal readings on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, link in the description if you're interested. My mom and I work together, so she's also a tarot reader. We're both certified consulting hypnotists, and she does human design readings. So if you're interested in any of that, check it out on our website. You can also check out our other YouTube channel, Sunflower Philosophy, where we talk about hypnosis and other things, spiritual things, whatever comes to mind, we talk about on that channel. So you can learn more about us there. And thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye.